the keys. 19 minutes after we know for a fact it's already 118 degrees inside the car. And what are they doing? They're swinging. Is there any sense of urgency here? Is that at any point in time they're going to say, hey, we need to take care of this child? No, we're swinging. And then what do? They eventually go to Larry's truck, which is parked out back. And now what do? It is now 39 minutes later. It is 3:39. They're still at the house. And they're kissing. They're not taking care of the child. They're not thinking about the child. They're thinking about themselves. So then let's go get a spirit key. This is where the child is. And this is where Larry and Rita go to go get a spare key. Which is why they don't get back for 52 minutes. The child's locked in the car at 3 o'clock. They don't get back until 4. Any sense of urgency there? Any concern for the health and welfare of that child? Did the child even cross their minds? Because they were hot. And they were interested in each other. And they were interested in kissing, hugging, spending time with each other, and having sex. Even the doctor talked about the increased libido as a result of being high on that. And you see it in all these pictures. Because that's what they're concerned about. Not an ounce of concern for that child. 52 minutes. And then when they get back, they arrive 4:40. They get back to the house at 4:40. They're in Larry's truck. Thank goodness they've got a key. They can come rescue this child now. When did they get out of the truck? They don't open the door till 4:44. They sit in the truck for 4 minutes and talking and hanging out. Again, no concern for the child whatsoever. They're just hanging out in the truck. And eventually they get out. And they approach the car. And when they do, neither one of them are sober enough to even figure out how to unlock the car. Larry testified, I'm pushing the unlock button, but it's not unlocking. It's because he's locking it. He's locking it, he's unlocking, he's pushing it. And the testimony that you heard from Captain Chapman, but also from even Larry, pushing the button and the light's coming on when I'm pushing the button, but it's not unlocking. And what you know is that when it's hit the emergency flasher, it's going flash, flash, flash. But at the end, when it goes blink, 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 that's hitting the lock and the unlock. I think it's once for lock, maybe 2 for unlock, I don't know. But the point is that you can't do that if the car's on. But we already do that. You know how you know that? Because otherwise, if you spend 5 hours in the car in South Carolina driving around with your air conditioning on, we would all be dead. Clearly the air conditioning wasn't on. They may have thought it was, but clearly the car wasn't on, the air conditioning wasn't on. And why do we know that? Because the child cooked to death. That's why. And also something else. Not one piece of testimony, not one person, not one, any of you said, I turned the car off. Larry said, I was already on when I put the child in there. Although we know that's not true.
Well, I think Duffy Stone's hitting all the high points there to get this jury where he wants them to go. Is it going to get them all the way to murder? I don't know. And I think it's important to note, Catherine Lozardo's here with me, also Dante Pointer. Guys, you know, we got 2 defendants here. And we've got one who took the stand. Larry King took the stand in his own defense. Rita Pangalangan said, no thanks. So let me start with you, Catherine. How do you think the jury deals with these 2 in terms of level of culpability?
Well, first of all, Rita Pangalangan didn't have to take the stand, and to remind our viewers, because of her constitutional right. Now, they used her daughters instead to testify on her behalf as to what kind of mother she was. However, the problem with that is it sounds like they have not been in contact with each other for that long. And also, the daughter did not know that her mother was doing meth. So there is the attack on credibility. But in terms of the co-defendant Larry testifying, the jury has to weigh whether or not he's saying what he's saying just so to save himself from culpability and point the blame to her. So the jury has to weigh both of that.
So, Adante, taking that information and that position from Catherine, you have to assume, I think, that the mom, the natural biological mother, is going to take most of the heat for whatever is happening that day.
Absolutely. It's her child. He's a boyfriend. He's coming over to, get high, have sex, and hang out. He's there for a good time. He doesn't have responsibility for that child. He didn't birth that child. He hasn't raised that child. That's the mother, who's doing all the same things, enjoying all the same things that he came over there to do. But she had an obligation and a responsibility to her child, regardless of her addictions, regardless of her vices. So I think the jury would definitely hold her more responsible, and that may be why she didn't take the stand, because I can imagine the withering cross-examination of the litany of questions that would come her way that she would have no good explanation for in terms of excusing away her conduct, high on meth or not. So I think that was smart of her to avoid the witness stand, and it was smart for him to take the stand.
Well, that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And thank you, Catherine, for pointing out that she didn't have to take the stand. I'm sorry if I suggested she should have or must do that. We know that's not the case. So, the meth in the coffee. Apparently, it can be done, but both meth and caffeine are vasoconstrictors, meaning they increase your blood pressure, tighten things up. Different parts of the body are affected, but they say if you put them both in the coffee, your BP, your blood pressure, can go up over like 200, which is probably not the high you're looking for. But they say if you're going to drink your meth, that, Catherine, you should put it in a soda, a non-caffeinated soda. So keep that in mind next time you think about partaking. So in this particular case, we know that drunk drivers don't get off the hook because, hey, I was voluntarily intoxicated. Same thing's going to be true with meth. That's not a factor to help somebody get off the hook or even mitigate any intent, is it?
No, it's not, and that's why the jury has an extremely hard time here, because like Dante mentioned, the prejudicial effect of the mom actually watching her daughter die in the car is so great that it would be easy to be angry, to feel that emotion, and find her guilty of murder. But like we were talking about during the break, we don't know at what point did Rita Pangalangan actually had a breaking point that she's done taking care of her special needs child. And it's not a justification for her murder, but also, with her meth, together with that, the jury will need to figure out maybe a lesser included crime as allowed in South Carolina.
Yeah, they've got a lot to work on there. And again, closing arguments underway in this case against these two defendants. We're going to get back to that after a quick break here. I also want to know a little more about the history she had, not from her daughter, because her daughter was kind of detached, but what was the history between this defendant mom and the child leading up to this child's death? Was she just over it? Was she, it was kind of a child that needed a lot of care. Maybe she just couldn't handle it. Let's take a break. We'll come right back.